It's always important to get off on a good start.
That's right, boys! FNC is back for the summer of 2016!
If you are a kind of team that tends to tilt or maybe play a bit on emotions, starting strong is good.
정말 매우 중요할 것 같고요. 그걸 이기면 기세를 충분히 많이 탈 것 같아요.
G2 obliterate elements!
We were sure that Olaf Top was a good pick against Lissandra and their team comp.
He sees him coming, and he should just... Play! I don't believe it! Amazing!
It's really important to win your first games on stage to get that confidence going.
Unicorns of Love, they take the first win!
It's not only for us, it would also demoralize other teams.
It's all about how much hard work you put in.
We're all quite kind of confident in our abilities to make a turnaround.
Most important is who will be on top in the long run.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to our coverage of the European League of Legends Championship Series. We're only halfway through week 1, and the hype is up for what's to come in the spring split. You're getting a glimpse of the crowd here in our studio in Berlin. I don't think I've ever seen them that pumped. They're ready to go. And so are the Unicorns of Love, of course, coming after a fantastic victory in the first game with their new lineup yesterday. And there, the fans coming inside here just a couple of minutes ago, entering the studio. The Giants as well, getting all geared up for their first match. They're Debonair, Ezreal, and the UOL Soraka with cheese as a staff. That is amazing.
Bananas all day, I hope.
Yep, let's hope so. I'm Eva Schok-Supporter here to break down all of today's competition with the help of Mitch Kreppel-Voorspels and Trevor Quickshot Henry. If we think about day one, things were going fast when teams got a lead. They managed to pull it out extremely quickly and keep building on that, which is very impressive.
It really was, especially for teams that we weren't sure quite how well the communication and the strategy was going to be. You know, a lot of very one-sided victories. Once a team got ahead, they stayed ahead. And the teams that did close games out very effectively used Baron very well. We took a look at some of the Baron power play stats, and the Baron power play is the definition of the amount of gold that the team with Baron earns more than their opponents for as long as the Baron buff is active. And as we looked at some of the numbers in this very small number of games and sample size, yesterday was around 4,500 average gold more than their opponents during power play. The summer split average in Europe was 3,200. So just for the few times we did see it yesterday, it was a marked improvement. And I'm just very impressed with how teams used their leads to win games.
Yeah, and just in general, there was a lot better macro than is expected in week 1 of a split. Usually macro gets developed, you know, as these teams get used to playing with each other, a lot of new teams. And that was mainly down to the really good split pushing, the 1-3-1s, we saw some 4-1s. We had a couple of really nice examples here of 1-3-1. Or just split pushing in general, like UOL, they got Fox ahead, rotated him in the bot lane. Suddenly Tom Kench rotates with the support carry on, and they completely dismantled supplies. There were a couple other examples, and it was actually quite interesting to see that teams had this level of communication, and already they mastered the art of split pushing really, and they left teams very little counterplay. So what I want to see more right now is teams that are being set up on being split pushed upon, they need to nip it in the bud. If you don't really shut down split push in the start phase, then you have no way out. You have no counterplay, because if you move left, for example, and you try and kill one guy, well, they'll take the other side of your base. So you really need to stop that early, make some picks, make use of that limited vision on the map, and try and counterplay that way.
And I'm excited to see how these teams bounce back. The teams that have lost to split push and the teams that are winning with split push. Do they diversify? Do they stick with the winning formula? Or do we see different strategies? So a lot of exciting things after day one.
I will see if the teams can bounce back, because after day 1 of the competition, 5 teams lead the other 5 by 1 game, logically. And some maybe surprises seeing in the top of the table. G2 Esports, Roccat, even the Unicorns of Love.
Yeah, G2 Esports at the top of the table, but that's kind of actually expected for them, because they play Roccat and Elements this week, and if they really want to aspire to be a middle-of-the-pack team, those have to be must-win matches, because there's a lot tougher competition in that pack. Think of Vitality once they kind of get on the road, H2K, Fnatic, Origin once they bounce
And
back.
it's Splice as well. I mean, Vitality and Splice both disappointed, I feel, for day one expectations. But, you know, we keep saying it's the first game of 18. There's a long season to go. So we'll see how they bounce back and adapt.
A long season indeed, and the 10 teams will continue to fight for positions today, starting with the Giants and the Unicorns of Love is up there. Then I'm looking forward to H2K Origin as well. A lot of good matchups here.
Vitality. I have to see what they're going to do against Fnatic. Yesterday, Fnatic had a very good runaway victory, and they closed it out effectively. Let's see if Vitality can slow them down and also bounce back.
Yeah, if H2K can play the same clean style that they did yesterday, OG may actually get in troubles again, especially since, you know, they had limited practice as well. They weren't looking too sharp yesterday. They didn't really have a grasp on the meta as much. So if that happens again, well, we may see Origin, who were the favorites for the #1 position this split, start 0-2, but I wouldn't write them out just yet.
No.
I still think Origin are very likely to end up winning the split.
Definitely nobody written off, and as we see the field of teams take to the Rift for the second time this year, we want to know which player impressed you the most on day one and why. And with the new year comes a brand new hashtag, so be sure to tweet your answers at LOL Esports with the hashtag EULCS for us to check in with them. Any standout players after day one for you guys?
Trick. Jungle Graves coming out from G2, you know, replacing Kikis in the jungle after the qualifying, etc. Very impressed. I just think he was in the right place at the right time. Great pressure and stand-up performance.
Yeah, Fnatic go through a rebuilding phase, and then suddenly their top laner appears to be
another huge
a
carry.
Korean hard carry. I mean, we've seen it before. No ho. I wonder what comes out of Gamsu for this season.
Gamsu.
Yeah, Gamsu definitely impressed. He did get help from the team. He did get help from Amazing, missing every Q, but he still carried really hard.
We'll see. Well, with the 2016 season comes a lot of new faces like Gamsu, like Trick, but some of Europe's most veteran players have gone elsewhere, leaving their legacies behind. For a look at the league by the numbers, we're going to check in with James Stress O'Leary.
Thank you very much, Shucks. And as we head into the 4th year of the European LCS, we wanted to take a look at some of the most seasoned players that we've ever had, and now who is remaining in the 2016 split as we go into the year. Keep in mind, all of these stats only include regular season games, so no playoff games and no games from Worlds either. But I think the best place to start when it comes to veteran status is games played in their career. And you can see this is the top 10 list of players of all time that have ever played here in Europe. We've highlighted 3 players, Froggen, Yellowstar, Svenskeren, no longer on the European stage. They've gone over to North America for this split. And when you look at European players that started in 2013, there's a couple of interesting numbers. This year, there are 7 active European players remaining that started in 2013 here in Europe. Over in America, there are 6 European players from 2013, and 5 of those 6 moved over to North America in this off-season. So that is really where this mass exodus has come from. It's all the players that have been in Europe for a very long time. But what about the players that stayed here in Europe? That's what I want to look at next. And we're going to take a look at the top 10 here when you look at remaining veteran players. This is players that are starting in 2016. So anybody that retired or moved to another region is not listed here. Take a look at number 9 here, Mr. Rales. Over on the left-hand side, you see their overall ranking, plus their change when we remove all of the retired and you know, players that have gone elsewhere. Mr. Rales moves up 12 spots to 9th here with 86 games played. And the reason I've highlighted him is he's a player that hasn't really stood out as a pillar yet of the European LCS, especially when you look at AD carries. So maybe 2016 is Mr. Rales' time to shine. But, you know, games played is all well and good. Everybody always talks about the kills. Who's carrying the hardest? Who's doing the best? And here's your top 10 all time. Every player that's played in Europe. Highlighting number 2, Froggen. Again, he's gone from Europe, but 1 game shy of the number 1 spot that Xpeke currently holds. And Froggen played 18 more games in Europe. Now he's gone to America. He's not going to be able to take that number 1 spot anytime soon. But looking at 2016, who is challenging for number 1? That's what I want to look at. And when you look at it, unsurprisingly, Reckless is up at number 2, moves up 2 spots. But the key thing here is, with Xpeke not starting every single game here for the Unicorns as we're expecting, and Reckless having a higher kill per game, Reckless is on track for that number 1 spot potentially at the end of this season. Kills are all well and good. It's also about those silent helpers in the background. We're only going to look at current assists right now because all-time Yellowstar's just by far and away all the way up there. And the story so far seemed to be all about how many games you played. Well, that's why we highlighted Kasing, 8th on the list, only 48 games played in total, and that's half of everybody else that's around him, and he's already making his way onto this list. So, bright future perhaps for the Vitality support after a rough start to the season. Take note, Diamond Prox right up at the top here. He's the league leader, and you know, he's one of those old faces that is still in the European scene. We've had a lot of new blood come in. We've still got the veterans. Let's hear from Diamond Prox, who is the league leader for assists and also for games played here in Europe.
It was pretty sad for me to find that the team which I played on will not exist anymore, at least in the LCS. So I had to try find a new one. It was really, I don't know, it was really sad to understand that everything we've done in the past 2 years, you know, we fall down to the bottom, and then we came back. And after the summer split, I thought a lot of how to improve this thing and how to make it work again. And then after 2 months of like relaxing and thinking about the team, I get this news that the team might not exist anymore in the LCS, so it was like, I don't know, it was crushing a bit, the feeling. But then I realized that, you know, sometimes you just have to move on, and the people, like, the most thing I liked in the Gambit is some people I worked with, and it's no problem for me to keep in the contact with them, so I will still talk to them, I will still enjoy their company whenever we can meet. And I think it's the most important thing about the team itself, with the organization. I found a new one already, and I'm happy that I can still work one of like my favorite job right now. I had some LCS, CS offers from EU and from outside regions, which outside regions were basically like money-wise. I don't put them above the success and potential of becoming better as a person, and I will become better as a person only when I can compete on the higher level. I like the Unicorns of Love the most, because basically everyone in this team is here not to get money, but to try to be the best, and that's what the most important thing is for me. Before, like when I was looking on my shirt, first it was like really cheap, but it looks badass because it had like a Gambit or Moscow 5 logo, and I really like those. And now I see the Unicorn, which is like really cool as well, but I have not such feelings yet because I'm new to the roster and I have no like really good big memories about this roster, but I'm about to build them, so let's see.
Whatever team at Diamond always shines. Hey everybody, I'm Devin Pyrotechnics Young here alongside Martin DeFicio
Linga, as we get ready for an epic battle, mythical if you will, Unicorns and Giants.
Yeah, let's just get right into the lineups here for the two teams. On the blue side, we will have Giants today. Adam, he's up in the top lane, the new guy coming in. Ku as well in the jungle, playing his first LCS season. We have Xpepi in the mid lane.
It's a hard one, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Adri as the AD carry, Godfred as support, and Losak, of course, is the coach for Giants.
Yes, indeed, of course. On the red side, we have the Unicorns of Love. You just heard from Diamond, but he's joined by Vizichachi in the top lane. He's, of course, prowling the jungle. Then Fox in the mid, Steelback the AD carry, support Hylissang, and their coach is still Sheepy.
And yesterday, great opener for the Unicorns of Love. Surprised us a little bit, especially the way they were playing and the way Diamond was playing in the jungle. We had some questions for him, obviously. How well can he perform on this new team? Well, he looked fantastic.
Yeah, it's a good start for him. Obviously, we don't want to take too much out of the first game, but it already looked like a great start for a team that was last year known for not having a very defined style. This was a much cleaner game from them as a whole.
Good macro game from them. I like the pick and ban phase. Zed came in as a good counter pick, obviously Tavares. And also Steelback and Hylissang had great synergy in the bottom lane. If they can keep that going, then Unicorn should be favorites to take this game.
Yes, indeed. Here we go into picks and bans. Now for Giants, this is a team that we expected to kind of be in the same tier as Unicorns. Obviously, it's only one game. They had a rough start, but unexpected start. See if they can improve things a little bit going forward. As the first ban off the board is Alistar. GP is the next one. Not too surprising there.
Yeah, no surprise yet. Godfred, he got banned out yesterday. A lot of support bans, Morgana and so on against him. This one here, Unicorn should ban Lulu. And most likely we're going to see something like a Rise coming in as the last man for the Unicorns of Love. Tahm Kench been taken away. Chachi had a great game on it, and Unicorns of Love really showed how to use the Tahm Kench ulti to make these big map plays, you know, where you sit in mid lane and then you can suddenly ulti down to the bottom lane, you set up a tower dive. That was very, very effective, and it was some of the plays we normally don't see too often from the Unicorns of Love, and that's what we want to see more from.
Yeah, I mean, we'll definitely have to go along for a little bit and see if they actually can improve that and build off of it. Just so you guys know, the Champion Select is still going. We're just having a minor technical
We just
issue.
prefer showing us.
Yeah, I mean,
that's basically
can you say no to this face? I can't. Anyways, we're back into it. Lissandra is the next ban. We see the Lulu taken off the board. That 100%, almost 100% ban rate, 100% pick ban yesterday.
So banning Lulu on blue side tells me that Giants are saying, we know like Rise and Lulu are the two contested ones now, and you could decide to leave both open if you were the Unicorns of Love and trade them. So Giants saying, we don't want to trade OPs right now, so we take one of them away. If Rise is left open, we can still grab it for Xpepi in the mid lane or for Adam in the top lane.
What they did yesterday?
If that is the case, yes, exactly. Or Unicorns will have to ban it away now and then open up a potential jungler. So it is open. Giants didn't manage to win yesterday playing Rise. It never really got going in the early game, so they might change it up.
Yeah, so speaking of junglers, they banned the Graves away, but we get to see our first Kindred over here in the European LCS, so that's going to get picked up for Ku.
And Ku is the kind of jungler who can really carry. I mean, he's known for having great mechanics in the jungle. Give him a Kindred, super, super strong early game. Look at the fact that obviously warding in the early game as well is a little bit more difficult. Kindred should be able to find openings. Yes, it does leave the Rise open, but if you can really start a strong early game, you stop Rise from ever hitting a point where he becomes super strong. And that is obviously what Giants can look for with this Kindred.
Yeah, and that's what we saw a lot of yesterday with Rise. Teams just weren't able to get him going since the games went so fast. And that will be locked in for Unicorns. They're going to try their luck with it. Of course, that is a flex. The Ezreal, more likely AD carry, but it technically is also a flex pick.
It is. It can go to the mid lane.
I'm a big proponent of mid lane Ezreal.
We have seen it before. It should still be the blue build coming in. Very, very strong for kiting, obviously. But this is two scaling champions now for the Unicorns of Love. And that has been a very bad setup so far in Europe because the teams have been so good at getting early leads and then kind of run with it. Really snowball them out of control very, very quickly. So having now double tier on your first two champions against a Kindred as a jungler, by the way, that is risky.
Yeah. And to back up that Kindred's damage, they'll be bringing some bruisery type champions to the party. So Shen we expect to go into the top lane since the Trundle support has been all the rage. As those two are locked in for Giants, immediately back over to the Unicorn side.
The beauty is all three champions for Giants are still flex picks. And we talked so much about it yesterday, how important flex picking is in this meta here. Kindred can go AD carry or jungle, Trundle can go support or top lane, and Shen can go obviously top lane or support, same thing. So you don't 100% know yet which matchup you're going to get, and it's very different. If Trundle goes top, you're expecting a split pushing top lane up there. If it's Shen instead, obviously you get the big tank up in the lane who will assist the bottom lane and the mid lane a lot more with his ulti. So it's very different for how the game is going to play out, and obviously makes it annoying when you're drafting against it.
It's a good point. Having the mind games available is something that Giants are counting on here. This time, though, the Unicorns are going a little bit more telegraphed. They're picking up at least once again for Diamond Proc, so he had a very good AP game on it. He got ahead early. He was able to snowball his lanes, and that's one of the big things that led to their victory yesterday. Seeing if they can do it again. The Thresh is also picked up for Hylissang.
Yeah, we know Hylissang is a massive playmaking support, especially when he can land some of these skill shots and set up the kills for the rest of his team. So it is a pick composition again for Unicorns of Love, or at least with a lot of pick potential. Elise into a Thresh hook, into Rise Snare. I mean, you can keep that target locked for 5-6 seconds, and that is enough time to burst down almost anything. Unless there happens to be a Shen ulti coming in to save the day, or a Kindred ulti to save the day. So Giants right now, I feel, have very good answers to what Unicorns are trying to build here, trying to pick off these targets here and get this one kill going, and then the teamfight starts rolling. Giants can prevent that pretty effectively.
They can. If they utilize the tools they have. But speaking of tools, we got a Vel'Koz on the board. Okay. Now, I know you got something to say about this.
Well, it's a pick. I've seen more and more of Vel'Koz in solo queue. He actually has a very high win rate for mid laners in solo queue right now. And he's just extremely strong when it comes to the fact that you have Spooky Ghost slowing down targets, allowing him to land his full combo. If you don't have a flash or dash to get out of it, there's almost nothing you can do to escape it. And he does so much damage if you just give him a few seconds. Combine that with decent wave clear, you have CC as well from him. He's a very strong mid lane pick at the moment. Still a lot of risk involving the fact that you are super squishy. You have low mobility as well, so not a surprise that a Zed will come in as a pick against it to say, okay, you want to play Vel'Koz, you want to try and scale up a little bit and then have this siege composition from Giants with Corki and Vel'Koz and start taking down our towers. No, we're going to try and shut you down in the early game and then start split pushing like the Unicorns did yesterday.
Well, this is the signature thing for Pepe, though. You know he's a man that's not afraid to take risks, to jump into situations maybe he shouldn't, but he sometimes is still able to make the big play. And that's a lot of damage you can bring to the party with Vel'Koz. The Zed, we saw Fox play yesterday into a pick that was very good on paper for them. He did play well against. He couldn't get a lot of early kills, but he had a lot of pressure on that Varus in the mid.
He did.
And he should be able to do this again. You can see he's already got the Ignite locked. What else are you going to take on Zed, of course?
I mean, it's basically the same setup for Unicorns of Love, except for the fact they don't have a Tahm Kench to save today, the big tank in the front line. They have more damage instead on the Rise. Otherwise, you have the Ezreal for Steelback to sit far back and clean up the team fights and kite. You have, of course, the early game jungler, Elise in this case here for Diamondprox. Again, not exactly the same situation for Unicorns because they're against a strong early game jungler, and that can be tricky.
It can indeed. Well, why don't you guys let us know what you think about this game? Will the Giants waltz away with victory, or will the Unicorns trample their dreams? Tweet us at LOL Esports, hashtag GIA win or hashtag UOL win. You know the drill, and the crowd just brings it on up. Nice and slow. We're getting kicked off for day 2 here in Europe. Everybody get ready to rumble here. Giants, Unicorns on the board, on the Rift. Let's get it going. For me, the key to this game, still Deficio, has got to be Diamondprox. He unlocked these Unicorns yesterday. He's on the same champion. I expect the same build, the same gank paths.
Fans, they were cheering for him when he came on stage. Cheering for Unicorns of Love now as well. They've always had a lot of fans. It helps when you're called the Unicorns of Love.
At first, that was the thing that attracted a lot of people, but then they made that big statement. I am San Jose.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to say last year, but really it was the year before now, and they played that crazy Twisted Fate jungle against TSM. Everybody started loving the crazy picks. That was Kikis. He's long gone now, but...
Well, more than Kikis. I would say all the members
had a lot of people, a lot of crazy things going on.
Poppy top lane.
This is a different Unicorns.
It is. It's a very different lineup. Obviously, Visichachi and Hylissang are the 2 members left, and then Sheepy is still there as the coach as well for the team, but the rest is new, and it was a different Unicorns of Love we saw yesterday, because there were more focus on the overall macro play than we've seen before. It used to be like trying to make big plays, be super aggressive, but that would never be consistent. Instead, now we saw a good use of 1-3-1. Sometimes they moved it in, moved the Tahm Kench around, but they kept playing around the Zed who was split pushing, allowing him to keep the pressure going. And that is something I want to see again from the Unicorns. I just think it's going to be harder against this Giants lineup. Because there's a Shen now who's going to stop the Zed from being able to dive people on the turret. There's a Kindred who you won't be able to one-shot due to ulti. Obviously also the rest of the Giants lineup. So the pick potential for Unicorns of Love will be greatly reduced once we get to these big team fights. And that's basically what Unicorns want to try and avoid for as long as possible.
Very true. Now against Splice yesterday, I want to say they had easier time than they will now because we've expected Splice to maybe be a stronger team than Giants right now. But this is a composition that won't enable them quite as easily as what Splice picked up yesterday. Fox, starting out in the spin lane, has already taken some harass damage from Pepe, who hasn't had too much to worry about. He knows that he's got a very mobile jungler backing him up this time. I'm curious to see where that jungler does go, but we'll worry about that in a bit since we've got the bottom lane now. Audrey and Godford are being zoned by Hylissang to start this off.
And that was another key thing for Unicorns yesterday. Diamond had a fantastic game, but the way he managed to set up the ganks with his team really stood out to me. Because it was such a good use of the minion waves. For the Unicorns, a lot of great communication from laners to jungle. Basically calling, okay, I'm going to let the wave push back towards my tower. And then Diamond starts pathing down to that lane. And the other guy is then stuck, you know, far up the lane. He gets ganked against a Tahm Kench, against an Alistar, who both provided CC, and you can't escape. And that's how Diamond could set up these easy kills for himself and his team. Giants needs to look out for that. And you have to call in your own jungler for assistance, or have a level 6 Shen, obviously, if you want to then start pushing up these waves, knowing Diamond could be nearby.
Yeah, it's a different type of double TP. Adam will be
very strong one, though.
It is very strong. Shen is, there's a reason that for a while now he has been a pick that has never completely been neglected, something that you can't just take for granted. A nice hook there onto Audrey. He has to zoom his way away. The pillar comes down, but Steelback is able to walk through it or walk just by it.
And this is another big one for the Unicorns of Love. Steelback, as an AD carry, has gotten a lot better in the laning phase during his time in North America. And he's now returned, and he's playing with Hillesang, who's always been a fantastic laning support. That combination was great yesterday. If they can do the same again, they will be able to create a CS lead and then start setting up tower dives later. But again, it requires Giants to fall behind in the lane. And so far, it is still fairly even.
Start things off. We've definitely not seen a whole lot in the top side. The middle has been harassed, as Fox has not gotten the better of that one. He's keeping even enough on CS, though. And Ku's going to be spotted over by the Dragon Pit. Diamond Prox has spotted himself as he finds a ward and clears it away. Pepinero will know. Ex-Peppy will know. It's going to take me a while before I can say that one without even thinking about it. Godfrey takes a bite out of Hilly. They're trying to chase him down. There's the pillar. Gets another chomp on. They've done a lot of damage
here as well.
But Ku is arriving. Exhaust is down on the Steelback. Frozen Domain for the speed. The hook, it's not going to connect. He's got to burn his flash. Unicorn's going a little too far forward.
So basically, both junglers were spotted just a minute ago. Diamond on the top side of the map, so they know he couldn't be there for a counter gang. Therefore, they could go for a very aggressive trade and get one flash at least. On the bottom side, trading it for exhaust. Ku now is no longer spotted. The ward has disappeared, unless he got seen by the one down in the bottom lane here.
Well, they know he left the lane, Official. We've got that much information. Meanwhile, up in the top lane, Chachi was building up a decent-sized wave against Adam, but he'll be fine if he just survives. Yes, he's losing out on some CS here. He'll be able to pick it up and answer back. The problem is there's no pressure on this Ryze.
And that's always a tricky thing. Like playing Shen into Ryze, you're never really going to be able to kill him 1v1. It's going to be a bit of a farm lane, and we know the scaling of Ryze is insane. But you don't need to necessarily shut him down the first 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes. You can get level 6 on the Shen. You can then start making aggressive plays on the bottom side of the map, as we see Giants are still doing, and have that global from the Shen to use time and time again. And that's how you start rolling, starting the mid game, basically.
For Unicorns, the mid game will be all on this guy's back. Fox, it's a little bit of a ward in, just to make sure he can spot the Kindred pathing and not have to worry about too much. He has been harassed quite a lot. Speaking of harass, Steelback is going in for Audrey. The pillar comes out to stop him. Diamond Prox now looks to come in onto Peppy, who throws his ghost down. Fox took a little more damage on the back of it, and Diamond couldn't get there in time.
Very interesting that Peppy is running ghost. He did the same yesterday on the right instead of running teleport. And when you play against the Zed, running exhaust is normally a very, very smart idea, especially when you're on these low mobility mages. I think that is a mistake from Peppy. But what he's doing to make up for it is rushing Hourglass very, very clearly, at least rushing the arm guards to get more armor to try and prevent that level 6 all-in Zed can always go for.
Yeah. Still, CS advantage to Pepinero. And see the two junglers starting to move up towards the top side, but Diamond will spot the ward. Ku knows he's there now. Could be up for a 2v2. Chachi does not want to do much more than step forward for just a second. He looks for Ku. He doesn't even need Diamond right there. The flash out of Ku. Diamond goes forward. This is going to be first blood, or is it just enough to lock him up? First blood as Adam teleports too late, and they might get even more. He burns his flash.
So what Giants were trying to do was exactly what Unicorns punished yesterday. There was a big minion wave pushing towards Mr. Chachi. So basically what Adam is doing, he's calling for Ku, saying, I need your help to push it out, otherwise I can get ganked. Please come up here and push it for me. So he shows up, they go too aggressive into the minion wave, and because Diamond is there, Chachi can go for the stun, or the snare, and then the gank happens. So it was honestly the correct call from Giants to call up Ku to help push it out and then recall. They just went too far forward, and then a fantastic setup again from the Unicorns of Love, and again it is Diamond and Chachi together getting that first blood, exactly the same as yesterday.
This is the question that we had on these new Giants players. Both Adam and Ku had their first LCS starts yesterday. Adam had not even played in the Challenger Series before. They have not played against these caliber of players outside of solo queue on a teamwork level. It just hasn't been there yet. We were unsure if Giants were going to be able to execute at the level. They have the tools in their kit in this composition, but execution is a big part of it, and it just hasn't shown up so far.
This is just one of the most annoying situations, though, as a team, because you are technically making the correct call. You're just not executing it correctly, and that's why you get punished. And also just a good setup, snare from Ryze into Cocoon from Elise and so on, like chain that CC, which is what Unicorns of Love have built with their composition. So first blood again for the Unicorns.
Diamond.
To Diamond, sure. Giants will really be annoyed about that one.
Pillar interrupts. Godfred and Audrey push far forward. This has been a pretty even lane on the bottom side, but they have been very aggressive. Both Steelback and Audrey have been trading bullets left and right.
An important thing for Giants is really mid lane and AD carry. Because you're running a siege comp with Vel'Koz and Corki, so your mid game is going to be insane with the amount of damage you can deal from a very, very long range against what we should call close to no hard engage. Actually, no hard engage or close to no engage from the Unicorns of Love. It's going to be like a TP from Rise or Hylissang or Diamond landing a CC. That's the only engage coming in from Unicorns of Love against a siege comp. And if that even happens, Trundle Pillar is there to disengage. Shen is there with his ulti to save someone. So Giants really have all the tools to play this one out, as long as they don't fall further behind right now. Pepe's farming fine. Down the bot lane, Audrey's farming. He has Sheen, he has level 6. Give the Giants 5 more minutes, and they will start grouping on these towers with 4 members and play a 1-4 setup. Adam in one lane and the other 4 guys together. Look for Trundle Pillar to be placed next to towers, so there's very little room to move and you slow down. And then just rain in rockets and Vel'Koz, whatever it is he's spamming away lasers.
It's caught now. Audrey's going to take this fight. Hilly is actually the target they choose.
Yes, Ku again.
Taking away damage. Ku has joined the party, and that means the Unicorns have to back out on bottom. Pepe throws the ghost down. Now looks for Fox here. Finds a little damage on him with the E. Can't get the Q off, though.
Diamond is here, though.
Right. Very slowly, not able to hit the cocoon, just barely.
Pepe keeping it very cool on the flash there.
Yeah.
Realizing it wasn't going to land. But again, we talked about this a few minutes ago. Giants, they want to play around the bottom side of the map. Use the fact you have double global from Shen, so they keep ganking the bot lane with Ku. And now they get a tower. This is perfect for siege composition. You can now either swap Audrey and Godfrey to top side and put Shen on the bottom lane, or you can start going mid already against the Zed with 4 members and just start pushing it in super hard on this tier 1 tower.
Yes, indeed. They pick up the first one of the game, 10 minutes on the board. So they cut a little bit of that gold lead that the Unicorns had built out. So now they're only behind by about 600 gold. The tower certainly helped there. And they continue. Start pushing forward into territory of the Unicorns. Ku goes in. He's got to stand united on him. And he's finding a lot of damage onto Hilly, but he will flash away from the taunt.
Great shot calling, though, from Giants. Every member is on the bottom side except for Shen. They haven't seen Diamond, so the call for Giants are back away from top tower. There's a chance you will get killed by the enemy jungler. So he backs away, and they create another play on the bottom side with the Shen ulti. They've already traded the 2 towers. They just avoided the fact that Adam could have died to another gang. So great calling from Giants at the moment. Unicorn still managed to trade even, though, by getting that top tower.
Might even get more for that. They sent Chachi on a long mission.
It's a rise. It takes time.
He's going to back away now. Okay, that's fair. But Unicorns did have the right answer. They brought some of their gold lead back up to par. They're a little over 1,000 ahead, but Giants might look for a dragon here. It's not very safe. There's vision in and around it, and there are several Unicorns in the brush, so they're going to have to back away for the time being.
I want to see Giants put Shen on the bottom lane now. Let him recall, let him shop, and then put him down to this bottom lane where there's no enemy tower to go for, because you want to keep trying to contest the turrets against this Unicorns of Love lineup. They give so much gold early on if you start taking them down. Him going top now means he's the weaker member pushing out a lane where he has no backup.
Oh,
cool.
That's some serious burst, and he gets stunned up. He's going to have to throw down the Lamb's Respite. Diamond Prox will wait just a moment, and there goes the death mark, but instantly Audrey comes right over with the package, and he might be able to take out the Zed. Ku will fall. Fox is low. Audrey's got no more backup, but he's got a rocket, but he's stunned, and Diamond's going in. The life form disintegration ray comes out, and Pepe picks a kill.
So in the end, 2 kills for Giants, 1 over to the Unicorns of Love. They will be pushing mid, but it's only Visichachi at the moment. Hylissang and Steelback going to join him. Wave clear machine. Pepe is back though. And this tier 1 tower would be very difficult to take down.
Makes you wonder how many times you try to prepare for dealing with a Vel'Koz pick. If I recall, this is the first one we've seen in the regular season ever in Europe. Papanero's just the kind of guy to play it though. Sends a laugh out when the hook misses. Very well. Sometimes even overconfidence.
Let's see what happens top, because Godfred is roaming up here. Chachi is all alone.
He's got to know.
He does have his tier 1 tower behind him.
No, he doesn't know.
He doesn't know yet. There's no ward in the bush. 3 members against 1.
Chachi's got to run. He sends out the snare. Flashes away, but he doesn't have anywhere near enough health to deal with 3 members. Ku will take him out. Unicorns back up a little late to the party, but Godfred will run right into the hook, and he gets caught. A huge chunk of damage. Diamond Prox is just dishing it out with the Runic Echoes, but not enough to take him out.
So seeing as Giants put Shen on the top lane, it was very risky for Adam to start pushing that one out because he was all alone at first. So Unicorns are basically saying, wait for him to come further up the lane, then we will gank him. But Giants are saying, no, we don't want that to happen. We will go for the gank because Chachi was very far forward in the lane, and you have Trundle Pillar into Shen Taunt and so on, tons of CC. Good setup for Giants, and now they're putting Adam's spot here. I like this a lot. Put him in the lane where there's no tower to go for. He just needs to farm and then have his ulti ready. Get the Corgi to top lane so you can push that tier 1 tower. And then after, swap the Corgi to mid lane with the Vel'Koz, and your siege comp gets rolling. And Unicorns of Love will run out of answers if they start losing towers very quickly.
Looks like they will be losing another one fairly soon, but not with this minion wave. Ku is waiting in the brush, so only Godfred and Audrey have shown. They're hoping to bait Visit Chachi out a little bit further, but he's staying under tower, playing the safe game as he knows what just happened a moment ago.
And we have another problem for Unicorns. The fact they have to put Zed in the bottom lane now against the Shen, meaning that the best the Zed can do is take the tower, while Adam can make a play with his team on the other side of the map. There's always a backup now of having the Shen. Chachi's going down to try and dive him.
Very slowly as he goes around. Not the optimal path. Fox will secure the dragon along with the rest of Unicorns. Chachi is looking to see if anyone else is here. Adam has got to run right back towards his tower, though. But there are 3, make it 4 Unicorns right on top of him. The Shen cannot get away. Unstealthy Ninja indeed. And another big pickup. This time it goes to Chachi.
And we keep seeing how teams have certain plays they can make, and the other team knows what the play is. So right here, Unicorns are not going to wait for Adam to make a play with his team on the other side of the map. So they're the ones rotating to the bottom lane to gank the teleporter. And they get tower, they get kill. Yes, they lose top tower, but they would have lost that anyway. Really smart play by the Unicorns of Love. And I love seeing how both teams are constantly just knowing what the other team can do.
Peppy trying to disintegrate the wave, but unfortunately, Unicorns have already picked up the tower. Without him there, Steelback is pecking away at the mid. Unicorns just pick up a massive power swing. 3,000 gold, rather, in the lead, as Audrey's trying to even the odds, but all the Unicorns are already backing, and there's not enough of a mini-wave here for him to finish it.
I have not seen the Unicorns of Love have this good shot calling, ever. I love how they were playing here. They understand how they can get in trouble, how their composition can fall behind and run out of answers against the siege comp. So they're making the aggressive plays on the right lanes. That was 2 towers. Keep in mind, guys, tier 2 tower and tier 3 tower are a lot weaker now than they were in Season 5. So by getting that first tower, you can rush down multiple members and take one, because Giants had so many guys on the top side of the map to take that tier 1 tower. Just a fantastic move from the Unicorns of Love. They also got Dragon, by the way, just an added bonus.
Just a little bit extra, and a lot of it, a lot of the catches at the very least that have led to these things have been Diamond Procs. The damage that he is dishing out is still unreal. He's obviously gone for the Swiftness boots, so he has a lot more mobility. We talk about how this is becoming a more standard thing because they are cheaper now in the mid lane. Giants are trying to siege, but they're already losing their wave.
There's another thing we talked about, Pyra, how once the Giants have taken down that top tower, it is grouping in mid lane time. Perfect spike on your Corki, Trinity Force, magic penetration completed because you got the early tower gold and a kill. And now the siege will start. They're going to hammer away, put up that Trundle Pillar to slow people down and just try and land as much damage as possible. You don't need to kill anyone, just force them back into base, and then you'll take the tower and you'll slowly roll over everything.
Question is, which ninja will get to the tower first? Ku is actually going to try and intercept Fox here, but he's got a 2-level deficit on him. That may not bode well. Godfrey takes a little bit of damage. Meanwhile, back to the top side. Fox uses some fancy shadow antics to go in onto Ku, who throws down the Lambs Respite, immediately gets a stand united to even the odds. In he goes. Fox is not in the best of spots, and he's going to have to get the hell out of Dodge quick. Instead, he goes back to Fountain. Another pickup for Kindred.
Giant setting up a little bait here. Steelback, find the ulti. Just on the guys in mid lane. Fake hype.
It happened.
I thought he was going to shoot it after Ku, but I also realized Ku wasn't really low enough to die.
It was a quick reaction, but not the right place, not the right time. It's all right, he'll have it up again soon enough. Giants are back to sieging in the mid side, but Fox just really kind of went a little too deep on that.
Yeah. He should never go for that play. First of all, he knows Shen ulti is up. Second of all, he knows Ku has his own ulti with Kindred, so he won't die to the ulti from his Zed. So honestly, by him going for that play, he makes Unicorns lose all the pressure they had. Because he was the guy who was supposed to constantly push down one lane, while the other members were defending and waiting for teleport to be ready again for Visichachi so he could go to a side lane. He was stuck in mid at first. As soon as the aggressive play happens and it backfires, Giants can go back mid lane and start pushing up, and there's no threat of them dying because there were 5 members alive. And honestly, that was just too greedy of a play when there was no chance really of getting a kill.
It allowed Giants to grab a tower on top of it. So we talked about the Unicorns making smart plays as a team. Still some of those individual mistakes. And Giants, they're showing the ability to take advantage of that using the composition that they've built.
Both teams are.
Yeah, this is definitely a lot smarter from Giants than what we saw yesterday, though. And I like that. Now Fox and Visit are looking for Audrey. As soon as I compliment him, he's in trouble. In goes the Zed. Pop goes the Corki. And
Boom
the teleport
goes
just
Dynamite.
cancel it.
Why on earth would Audrey just solo push out that lane? When all the outer turrets are gone, it is so risky against so much pick potential on the side of Unicorns of Love. Both teams are making good calls as a unit, but then as you said, we see these individual mistakes then coming. Getting a little bit too greedy. Oh, can I get a kill? Can I get 2 more waves of farm? And that cost you. Instantly you get punished, and your team lose more than they should have lost.
Another kill over to the Zed, or a kill over to the Zed, I should say. And they pick up the Rift Herald, too, on the top of it. We've talked about how it's not necessarily a huge objective, but as an exit objective, as something that you can just grab as a cherry on top. It's easy enough.
Yeah.
And Diamond Prox gets it. Whatever lane he goes to, he's going to be able to push a little bit faster now.
There's nothing else to push for the Unicorns, so you might as well just grab it, get some gold, get that small buff, and then go back to farm your waves and start.
Last second one, too. It's about to go away.
Sure. Last one there, it's definitely fine. So still, we're back looking at Giants with the Siege comp. They want to put Vel'Koz and Corki together. You want to have Adam in the lane where Zed is sitting. So you have basically no kill threat, or you can put Ku there as well. I would like that from Giants too. And then you just have Vel'Koz and Corki and Trundle as that 3-man unit in the mid lane.
Speaking of 3-man units, there are 3 Giants sitting in this top side wave looking to intercept Fox once again, but Chachi's pushing on the bottom, so we could see more 1-3-1 action unfold. Diamond Prox still sitting with the mini Baron buff if he decides to try and push down mid, but there's just a massive wave clear machine in the form of Xpepi, so he won't be able to get too much done. And now instead, they're hanging around the Baron pit.
A little bit too early for Unicorns will have to take it, but having the control is always important.
Godfred. He is caught up. The double CC layers. The Kindred ult was there just enough. Godfred should escape. Hilly takes half of his health bar and damage, and the True Shot Barrage finds nobody. But meanwhile, Chachi's still hammering away at the bottom.
This is what we highlighted in Champs, like how Unicorns of Love have all this single target CC and then burst combined with it to take down that one target when they catch it. How Ku can deny it, how Adam can deny it is really annoying. Because this should have obviously been a kill onto Godfred. Good setup from the Unicorns. They had full control of Baron. They had pink wards in the river. Godfred as the support. It's often how teams do it, like send in the weakest link, being like, go and place a ward, please. And then if he dies, well, that's great for Unicorns. They can start pushing down lanes, get full control of the map. Ku says no.
Yeah. What's really great about this is both teams seem to have very similar power spikes in the fact that they've got some mid lane power that is now going to start waning as we get the Kindred, the Vel'Koz, the Rise, and the Ezreal kind of all start firing on cylinders. And we're going to see these fights have bigger and bigger stakes. And it's sooner or later something has got to give, but the two teams just keep capitalizing on little mistakes and countering each other because of it.
Exactly. We've seen good calls, but then small mistakes here and there, slowing it down. Giants right now, ideally, wanted to keep pushing towers. They're not looking to straight up teamfight at this point. They're looking to push turrets. But they can't because Unicorns have control of the river. So whenever you cross by the mid lane, you're always afraid of a flank. Now they pushed them out. This is good from Giants. They can now go in, clear out a pink ward, take 2 or 3 of them, get control of this river, and now you can start setting up for a siege where you know the flanking is very difficult for Unicorns to pull off.
Well, this is already much smarter Giants than what we saw from yesterday. They can take a win here today. Can silence some of the critics. Starting off a week 1-1, not terrible for a team expected to be in the bottom half of the table, but now Chachi is going to be caught, saved by the Threshold. Diamond may not be so lucky. Godfred also gets yanked in, so a jungle for support, but the fight is on. Lifeform Disintegration Ray as Adam gets dumped in by Fox, and those laser beams hurt.
Pepe is doing some serious damage already. He didn't complete the hourglass, he just went for the arm god to get the armor in the laning phase, and then he's just gone straight damage after. Leandris is fantastic on Vel'Koz, and the damage when he's left untouched. That was a full ulti, by the way, channeled on the team of Unicorns of Love. Let's see, there might be a flank here. Godfred, Hylissang is spotted. He's going for it anyway.
Yep, they've lost the tower, and Hilly will not get the hook, but he throws the box down. Adam goes in for the taunt. There goes the Lamb's Respite, and Giants are staying alive inside of it all, but Audrey will melt. Shachi, everyone's going low here. Fox is coming up with one more, but he gets knocked up for a second. Can Peppy outplay the Ninja? So far he's trying, and Fox is not going to try his luck any further. It is a 3-for-2, all said and done.
Very close in the end. Unicorns did end up losing the tower, but then got engaged. It's not over yet. There's TP from Chachi. He's coming.
Looking to come in the backside. They have no idea this one's coming. Looking to force onto Diamond Prox, but now Chachi's coming on in, and he doesn't care about the exhaust. A shutdown, courtesy of the Elise, and Godfrey gets the hell out of dodge. That means it's Dragon time.
Again, a lot of back and forth here. Giants finally pushed Unicorns away from the Baron. They started grouping together, and then saw the chance for an aggressive play, where, again, they can honestly slow down. They can just group on towers, but they wanted to fight in the jungle at first. Used a lot on that, and they were very low. So now we get the second fight with the flank. Missed first from Hillesang, and then also Crew has to use the ulti, obviously, to stay alive, while Silback gets blown up.
This is just some good damn League of Legends, Officio. I am loving the way these two teams keep playing against each other. Peppy is making this Vel'Koz pick work out so well. And you know, the moment Fox realizes, oh, I shouldn't be here anymore, and he gets on out. So, talk about EU mid laners.
Definitely like our mid laners here in Europe.
Sometimes they get imported, though, but we always find more.
And that's the crazy thing. There's always a new guy incoming. There are a bunch of 16-year-olds right now. You just need a few more months, 1 year maybe, and they can step into the Challenger scene and then into the LCS. I don't know where we keep finding them, but they're doing pretty well all the time.
All over, man. And look at Giant Squad. They came in as the all-Spanish squad last year, and their goal was just to stay in the LCS. They then improved that. We want to make playoffs. They did that. This time, they got to be looking for more, but they've taken gambles in Adam and Ku. This time, though, this game, so far, it is working out for them against a team, the Unicorns, that have done unexpectedly well in their opening day.
I still need to see Adam sit in the lane with the Zed, because he's the only guy who can really stay alive against it. And all you want to do is when you have Zed pushing down a lane, the rest of Giants can safely push up their lane, because you have the global. Chachi has no TP at the moment, so he's not a threat for Giants. Put your Shen in this top lane here, and then go push this mid tower. Because if Unicorns wants to fight you, Shen can TP in if needed, and you're 5 versus 4. Otherwise, you just sit there and you land poke, and that's how you get map control. If you never land that poke, Unicorns can keep setting up vision and go for objectives like this Baron.
They're doing it with 2 members right now. Fox was buying time, didn't go too deep. Now they can rejoin. Giants do not have the vision coverage. This is what you call a free Baron, and the Unicorns will sneak it away.
It's simply the same. Giants are not feeling confident pushing because they're always looking to this lane where Fox is going with the Zed and be like, oh, we need to send someone to defend. And then it's one of the 4 guys in mid who goes back to defend instead of the Shen. So it slows it down. This mid tower has taken barely any damage, and there was no poke landed on Unicorns. So once Giants step back from the lane, Unicorns walk into River, say now River is ours, put in a few pink wards, we have pick potential. Giants suddenly can move forward. And then also Baron was just left unnoticed. And Unicorns pick it up, so great play from them, but Giants are playing way too passive in a massive power spike.
And at the moment then, with the Baron completed by Unicorns, this means that Giant Siege Comp is going to be less effective for the next 3 minutes. They've got to be able to stem this push, keep their vision up on the other side of the map, but Unicorns have done a great job at clearing that out, of letting it expire and then keeping the vision on their side, keeping it all available to them. 27 minutes just about we're approaching in this game, and there's a 5,000 gold lead for these Unicorns.
Yeah.
Sounded like the crowd favorites, and they are looking like they are the team that are edging out the Giants this time.
And the tiers we were highlighting in Champs Select being like, oh, there we go. Hit tier for me. Yeah. The tiers we were highlighting in Champs Select have now been fully stacked. Let's see what happens bot lane.
Speaking of fully stacking something, Adam narrowly gets dodged by Chachi, who just is on a massive escape. He gets the lantern out, and they will have to try again, but that was a close miss. Meanwhile, in the mid lane and in the top, the Unicorns keep the pressure on as Ku and Adam were busy.
Keeps just giving more time to the Unicorns of Love. They can push the lanes. They can now get a top tower down. There's nobody in this lane at any point for Giants. I don't know what they hate about top lane, but it's fantastic for the Unicorns of Love. They can just freely split push this lane over and over and over. For the last 5 minutes, have you seen anyone try and do anything to this top lane?
Audrey's
there now.
It's the token effort, but you're right. They really have neglected this. The one thing that was really good for them earlier on was when they started collapsing, when the one misplay by Fox led to a kill, allowed Giants to continue pushing. But they seem to have let up a little bit. They've hit the brakes. I'm not sure why. You're right, you mentioned earlier they had this massive power spike that they just hadn't really been using. Those fights in the jungle, those chaotic, hectic fights, have been going their way. But then they stopped. And then they backed up into their own side of the map. And this has allowed the Unicorns to full throttle forward. And this is why they have the lead.
Giants basically have this checklist where like number 2, number 3, number 4, they've all checked off. They're like, we've done this, we've done this, we've done this, we've grouped, we've killed these towers. But then number 5 saying, how do we deal with the split push? That is still unchecked, and they simply don't understand how to deal with it.
They don't understand how to deal with Chachi right now. Bring in more members to try and take him down, and he will manage to pick a kill, but finally gets shut down by Adam. Diamondprox now quadra-teamed here, and he gets blown up, but there's no one on the Zed up top.
This top lane, man. This top lane. That's a free tower now.
It's a free inhibitor.
Oh, well, okay, you give away two kills, so free's basically the wrong
they stopped Audrey. Hilly just keeps stopping the back. There's only one person on this Zed. Pepe's going to be able to take it out. He should be able to get away from this one, too. Watch it in the mini picture as Steelback continues to push in the mid. He's taunted up now, but Adam doesn't have the damage. And the Zed just keeps dancing around. Oh! I didn't expect the Godfrey kill.
I just saw him shadow forward and figured, is he juking something?
I didn't even see him.
And then Godfrey goes down. Fantastic play. Unicorns is just running Giants around the map.
Fox has shown why he loves this Zed pick, and what he can do with it on 3 items.
And
so
there
far
is the dead
spectacular. There is the dead Trundle. Ripped and pepperonis.
I really felt like Giants had so many tools to deal with split pushing. Due to the Shen, due to Ku as well.
Let's see what happened. I missed half of it.
So he basically took tower and inhibitor, flashes forward, Godfrey obviously the support Trundle. Enough damage at this point, late game, rank 3 ulti for a Zed, it's a ton of damage. And really, really well played. And Giants are just constantly trying to look for an aggressive play, always ignoring the top lane, always ignoring the top lane.
Well, they're falling further and further behind. The gold game has now almost gone to 10,000. Dragon being massively pulled out of the pit here, although it's starting to regen, so you got to be careful about that one. But Giants can't step forward and try to take this. This would be number 3. They get the movement speed buff. Obviously, it's not as important for Unicorns, but denying the next one is important. And take a look at what they've done with their Baron. That power play, 4,000 gold extended their lead.
And just such a big difference in how fast you can push the lanes. Shen pushing a lane compared to a Zed. It takes forever for the Shen to do it. He has the Sunfire cape and his auto attacks. So Zed can do it way faster. That means if you keep putting a Shen away from the Zed, you're always going to lose that push because you're never going to be as quick and you can never do the same damage to structures. So you don't have the same threat basically. It needs your unit of 4 members were the one you were supposed to play around. But you kept running to side lanes at different times because you never had anyone sitting in front of a Zed when the split push started. And that meant you never got to set up a siege. And that means you come fall apart, basically. Now you have to rely on a big late game team fight, but the Unicorns have no reason to opt for one, which can be 50-50 at this point because they've just been winning the entire map. Wait for another Baron, pick that one up, take the rest of the base, and you're 2-0.
Yeah, at this moment, 80% of Summoner's Rift belongs to the Unicorns of Love, and they want to keep it that way, make it all the way to 100. Buy the title lead outright. 8K in the lead. It's 31.5 minutes. They can indeed wait for the next Baron because the Giants are just not making these moves. But credit to them. Compared to yesterday, this looks like a revitalized team. They are learning, at the very least, and seeing some of that growth that we often called them out on not having last year.
Sure. Another defensive package though from Audrey. Haven't really been able to use it at all. And
bottom lane.
I would definitely say, yeah, Giants had a good start to the game, had some good moves. It's very fun to see the back and forth between the teams, understanding what is the play the other team can make that can punish us, how do we react before it happens. But then once we hit like 20 minutes, it just kind of stopped. The game plan just kind of stopped working, and Giants have been confused ever since. And Unicorns have been able to outmaneuver them on the map over and over, and a lot of it also obviously comes down to great split pushing from the Unicorns of Love.
Using what they have to be able to get those towers down quick. Chachi and Fox have done a great job at drawing pressure away and being able to get away in the bad situations. Hylissang has been a beast on roaming this game. Even in the laning phase, we talked about how much of a backbone he was for this Unicorns team last year and how he really needed to do his best every single game if the Unicorns were going to have a chance to split. So far, so good for him. And we're seeing him make very good use of this Thresh Mechanics kit and why he prioritized this pick.
He's always had great mechanics as a support. Who's going for Diamond here?
Diamond's going to flash away very quickly outside the Wolf's Frenzy. Doesn't want to fight the Kindred on their terms. 4 members of Giants in the Baron pit for the moment they have control of it.
But suddenly now Giants are feeling confident enough sitting 4 members and contesting vision. Because they had this Shin down the bottom lane at first, so they're like, okay, we can hold the lane right here. So we know the Zed is under control for now. We can then fight 4v4 up here, but we still have a strong unit. And that is what Giants, again, should have done. I know we keep mentioning it over and over, but that's what's gone wrong for them. Now they can at least fight for the vision here, because if they lose that as well, it goes all wrong.
They just might. Ku is in the Lamb's Respite, and he gets the teleport in. His health bar was just melting, and he goes down. Shachi will finish him off before Adam can complete the stand united. Godford nearly follows. Not in the right place, not in the right time. Get caught as Peppy was off, but he disintegrates Hillisang and almost gets another on top of it. Diamond procs Chachi and Steelback. Got to be careful there, but the tower goes down as Adam and Fox will duel it out. A ninja battle down on the bot side. Godford comes in to help to try to make it a 2-on-1, but Adam's not winning this one. Exhaust is on. Inhibitor respawns, perhaps timely for them, but Fox will finish the kill, and Godford is going to try to answer on back. The flash from Fox. Can he get away? Right into his own minions. This guy is a master of disguise.
The rest of Giants are coming now. Pyra here, Adri and Peppy.
Fox has got to get out as soon as he can. Dodges away. No geometry, but Peppy has other ideas. Chachi's at the back, though. Godford will finally finish the kill onto Zed. All said and done, there's still several Giants down, and Unicorns are looking to march through the base. Inhibitors back up, but maybe not for long.
And while we had that big fight in the bottom lane, again, Unicorns, they picked up the Baron for a second time. Get another inhibitor, same one as before, so the base is open. Baron buff is there. You can wait now for everyone to respawn. You got 3 dragons to 0. Unicorns, they have everything at this point. Finally, Giants found a way to try and at least fight somewhat even. The problem was they waited until they were behind 10,000 gold.
And still haven't been able to pick up a dragon. No battle stats on that front. They tried to fight and try to prevent Barons, but it's just not working out for them this game. You're right, it is too little too late. If they can find a way back into this game, though, it's got to be more of that, but more successfully. Now, what can you do when you're this far down?
I mean, with this far down, it's, again, you set up a trap, basically. You wait for the poor Zed to walk down on his own, and you 5-man kill him. And then you rush up and you try and force a fight on the remaining 4 members of Unicorns of Love. The problem is, every play you have to make is so risky, and there's such a high chance that Unicorns say, oh, they're killing our top laner? Right, fine, we just walk down mid and take your tower and your inhibitor. So, like, it's never really in your hands anymore. You need the other team to really mess up in order for you to come back.
We have seen individual mistakes from these Unicorns, but when they group as a team, they have been fantastic this game. Half the tower damage already dealt. Adam, Peppy, Ku, everyone from Giants are here in the mid side. They've managed to push the waves out, at least give themselves some breathing room in the sides, but they still are having a hard time defending this one. And Unicorns are just far too mobile, galloping towards what looks like another win for them. This game keeps up.
A potential 5v5 could also be what Giants need. Because you have Kindred ulti, you have very strong Velcros, but Pepe just uses ulti. So obviously that's a big ability to lose. You barely got to deal any damage to the Unicorns of Love.
Still pecking away. They've got the Baron Empowered Cannon minion, and Giants can't step forward to deal with this right now. It's not going to do a lot on its own, but it will continue to do a little bit as Giants can't do anything about the side waves with too many Unicorns still in the mid side. The Siegers are getting besieged at this point.
So just waiting. Unicorns, they know diving is very risky against the amount of poke and CC as well from Giants.
Look at the top side.
Playing it slow. Minions coming. Both lanes.
3-shot barrage. They can just go in.
Just give it one hit.
One more shot will do it. They take it out. An inhibitor is open. One in the top is dead. The Giants have to make a move now or never. But the Unicorns have already backed off. Stayed safe. They can just keep rinsing and repeating this one. As the tower goes down thanks to the minions, as Ku is occupied on it, they've had to send members stretched in all directions inside their own base. Godford takes some damage. Adam gets caught on a hook, and half his health bar is chomped down in the blink of an eye as he taunts Chachi. They're still going to be able to get him really low and force the Lamb's Respite. Life Form Disintegration Ray is going to be Zanya's by Chachi. Diamond Prox takes out Ku after the channel. 2 Giants are gone now with Adam taken out. Peppy will dodge away, but it's not going to be enough. It looks like the Unicorn Unicorns are running rampant over the Giants. One Nexus turret is all that stands between them and victory. Godfred is caught up. A double kill to the Zed. Make that another for Chachi. That's the ace. 38 minutes. The Unicorns of Love will start off with a 2-0 in spring.
What a great game from the Unicorns of Love. We are seeing completely new things for this team. Obviously a new lineup, but we are seeing some great shot calling, understanding of especially the split push. Twice we've seen a Z pick now as the last pick for the team, and both games it has been massive.
It was enabled by the mid lane matchup, but this game especially, Fox made it super effective.
Great performance.
And Diamond Prox, 2 games on Elise, big performance in the early game, going that AP route and just wrecking laners' days. As the fans are just loving this new Unicorns lineup. They still get the same hype, they still get the same applause, and they deserve it to start this split off 2-0.
Definitely deserve it. And Giants on their side, I honestly like the draft and the plan they had in mind coming into this with the Siege comp against the Unicorns, because when you start drafting like Ryze and Ezreal and so on, you run fairly low wave clear. Like Ryze has to use his ulti to clear the wave, and then if you just keep hammering away on that tower, Ryze can't do a whole lot. So I liked what they were building. The problem was, I feel like they kept mispositioning their Shen on the map, and that meant they always felt some sort of pressure from a side lane, so they never got to group as 4. Vel'Koz, Corki together in the mid game. With a Trundle putting up a pillar at the tower, like that is just absolutely insane siege against so little wave clear. But because the Shen was always in the wrong lane, it never happened for Giants.
Yeah, they had a really good plan. They had a great draft phase this game. For the most part, I think they are showing a massive amount of improvement. But you're right, they need to fit the last pieces of the puzzle into place before they can challenge the rest of the teams. But for now, we're going to send it back to the analyst desk for a look at the Unicorns of Love's second win in the spring.
Well, thank you very much, guys. And a 2-0 week to start off for the Unicorns of Love in terms of will they fix their inconsistency issues? Rather, that is a fantastic start. So let's look at how they did it today. Vel'Koz pick coming up on the side of Giants, so something unexpected, but UOL again with a game plan.
Yeah, the Vel'Koz I think was a little unexpected. Just when you look generally in the meta, it's a champion that we've seen in multiple competitions like once, twice. I actually don't think it's one that Europe has seen almost any play outside of support. When we look at the Vel'Koz pick, very high damage late game, but at the end of this game, Vel'Koz for a solo laner or damage dealer actually was the second lowest. Only Shen had lower damage, and you'd expect that anyway. So for this champion that, you know, late game is just going to destroy people, Peppy never really got the opportunity. A couple of team fights he had, he just blew people up, but just never was able to output consistent damage the entire time.
Yeah, definitely not.
UOL got off to a great start, I was going to say, because you guys tweeted out a storm, and one of the tweets we wanted to read out was from @TheTitan84. Diamond Prox, he looked a lot more like Season 2 Diamond rather than Season 5 Cole. I mean, it is, of course, a little bit...
So, in order to become a Diamond, you need to put Cole under immense pressure. And after a few years of struggling, Diamond steps up. Last year summer, he averaged less than a single kill plus assist before 15 minutes on average for the entire split. In the last 2 days, he's averaging 2.5 kills plus assists in the first 15 minutes, but it's from planning. Everything that has happened has come from a clear game plan. Very early in this matchup, there was a ward that was placed on the Scuttle Crab. This gave information of Ku's pathing and jungle route on that Kindred. Diamond then used the timing on that to allow him to counter jungle. He stole camps away from Ku and away from the Giants' jungle. This meant that when Ku went up to look for his jungle, there was nothing there. It allows Diamond to be in the right position at the right time to come up to this top lane and help out Busy Chachi. He has a level advantage from the counter jungle, and he's just in a better position to help Chachi. It was very smart play, and it's something that, you know, Krep and I were discussing just before the game ended. And it actually led to an argument or a disagreement between yourself and I, Shox, because Martin was praising UOL's shot cloning and strategy and saying the best we've seen. I'm inclined to say yes, because I can't remember UOL actively split pushing, actively using the comp to their advantage It's an old trick, the Z split push, but it worked.
A counter argument, Gnar, Vizicachi, a couple of games last season, I remember definitely good split pushing. I think it's going a little bit far saying that this is the best shot calling we've ever seen from a one game.
Early assumptions. This is the theme.
Yeah, you're right, you're right.
We have to determine it all, but
it was impressive nonetheless.
the main thing I think, sorry to interrupt, the main thing I think about Chachi's Gnar is like that took a long time to scale up, right? He needed to have a good lane that led to it. I'm very impressed with UOL just in some of their early game decision making. I want to see what happens when they don't have a lead after 10 minutes.
And don't get Zed for Fox and getting... We're not letting you talk. Go
It's
ahead.
okay. I'm going to get in because I want to go all the way back to that ward because it seems insignificant at first when you look at it. But you look at the pressure Diamond Prox applied top lane. I mean, we very rarely, if ever, Crepo and I were talking about this and we were trying to rack our brains and think, how many times do you see a support leave that lane that early just towards Scuttle Crab because you know that a Kindred is like not really going to be able to gank that easily. You'd assume most jungle paths are covered, so that Scuttle Crab seems to be a very easy target, and from that, you just read so much early game information, and coming to the shot calling, if they can use these little tricks from Hylissang, these off-timed roams, these off-timed wards, in conjunction with Diamond Prox, I think that is where the early game from the Unicorns looks very, very good in these first two games.
And especially because Kindred is going to mark one of those, or the potential is there to mark those targets early on. So you've also got the player mindset as well, the champion mindset. So just very, very smart heads-up play from UOL, and they're 2-0.
Fantastic start for the Unicorns of Love, and back to the drawing board from the side of Giants. And we need to go on cooldown, but in just a few minutes, Elements and Splice will go at it as they try and carve out their spot in the European LCS. Don't go anywhere.
I actually feel a bit tired.
No, guys.
No, please. I'm gonna spill half liter of the water on your face. If you say that again.
I'm so alive.
Diamond goes forward. This is going to be first blood, or is it just enough to lock him up? First blood as Adam teleports too late, and they might get even more. Who will fall? Fox is low. Audrey's got nowhere backup, but he's got a rocket, but he's done, and Diamond's going in. Adam goes in for the taunt. There goes the Lambs for Spite, and Giants are staying alive inside of it all, but Audrey will melt. Shachi, everyone's going low here. Peppy will dodge away, but it's not going to be enough. It looks like the Unicorns are running rampant over the Giants.